What's up, fam? Quick little tour of my garage gym setup here. I've been fortunate enough to have some of these items that I honestly don't know what I'd do without right now. So here we have a box, a barbell. That's actually my barbell that I got for my birthday a few years ago from my awesome community at Our Not Given CrossFit. I miss y'all. Squat rack, wall balls, weights, some dumbbells. All of that stuff came from Motor City CrossFit. I can't thank you enough for lending me those things at this time. I would honestly be losing my mind without the barbell and some weights right now. I'm sure a lot of people out there feel my pain. I also got this Rogue Echo bike from Jessica Chaplin at Kensington Valley CrossFit. She's been a friend of mine for many years. We won together the Battle of the Sexes. So we even beat the boys. We got first place. I'll never forget that. Randy was the last workout and we absolutely crushed. We made that barbell our bitch. Anyways, I just thought it'd be cool to start doing stuff like this, upload for you guys. Let me know in the comments if you have questions and or any topics you'd like to see covered in the future. So here's the workout that I'm going to cover for today's briefing. I'm going to go through each movement with you guys and demonstrate each one, what I want you to think about. So today I wanted to kind of crush the quads and legs and my shoulders. So this is what I put together relative to that thought process. First movement on the board for today was a box jump. So I'm going to show you how I coach that with people that are new to learning the box jump. First of all, I want to ask you to do a step up that's just going to get you acclimated to the height of the box. There's this very innate primal fear of falling or landing on the box, which is a very healthy fear to have. It's the last thing we want to see happen when I ask somebody to do a box jump. So the regression or the starting place for that would be first just work with a step up, making sure the knee stays in line with the toe. Try to drive off of this working leg. Try not to push too much off of that back leg. So you're going to drive off this front leg, step all the way up, make sure that leg's locked all the way out, and then step back down. Alternate, do the other side, same thing. So once you've done a number of those and you're comfortable with the height of the box, then we can go into doing an actual jump. Now with that being said, if you're not exactly comfortable with the height of this box, then what we can do is set up 45-pound plates to a height that feels manageable for you. Do some practice on there first, and then go ahead and advance to the box. As the box jump itself, we want to make sure that you're using that jump stance. So one thing that I always coach when people are learning any explosive movement is to set your feet up where you would if I was going to ask you to do a max vertical jump. That's where you're going to produce the most power. That's where you're going to be strongest. We might adjust that on you depending on the movement and what you look like while you're doing it. So box jump, you're going to start from here, using your arms to help with some momentum, carry you up onto the box. Try to land softly like I just did. Finish by locking all the way out at the top. I highly encourage you to step down versus rebounding until you get really efficient at box jumps. So rebound would just look like this, jump up, right into the next one. So you want to avoid that at first for many reasons. Don't worry about that right now, just get really comfortable with the box jump or the step up first. Squat. Single leg squat. A regress variation would be just to do a lunge first, make sure we're really good with those mechanics. So you're just going to step forward, make sure that front knee stays in line with the toe, step back, standing all the way up. Okay, so when you get comfortable with that first, another thing you can do to regress the pistol squat would be, you can still see me if I stand on top. So you want to come to like the edge of the box, and then you're just going to let your foot kind of like hang over. Make sure you have your balance, obviously you don't want anybody falling. First, just make sure that you can descend into somewhat of a squat there, regain your balance by putting that foot back on the box then if you're able to, you can start to bring it out forward a bit more. Try to get that full depth all the way back up. So that's a way to learn it without being on the ground. If you're on the ground and you have the strength, mobility, stability, all those things should come first, right? Then you should be able to just go right into holding that leg out, descend into your squat, stand all the way back up. In this burpee, so again, I always start with show you how I want them to be done, and then we can look at regressing them from there if we need to. So you're gonna bring your hands to the floor, move this, hands to the floor, kick your legs out into plank. Then you're gonna lower your knees, then your hips, then your chest. Reverse back in that order. Jump to flat foot, finish with a jump and clap. It's really important that when after you come all the way down, get back to a plank, and then you go to jump to your feet, that you jump to a flat foot, because otherwise you're jumping like to this position over and over, which if you're somebody who has the slightest bit of knee pain or issue, that could worsen that for you. So also just translates over to other gymnastic movements. Make sure to sort of like pike your hips up and come to a flat foot. So I'll show you what that looks like again. Come to that flat foot, and then finish with the jump and clap. If that feels very challenging, what you can do instead is a step back burpee. So you're still gonna bring your hands to the floor, step back into your plank, still come all the way down, back up, and then you can step, still finish with that jump and clap. So those are the two variations that I like to teach with the burpee. Push-up. So we're looking for these to be done on the floor. We want to make sure that your chest comes all the way to the floor with your hips still just slightly off the ground. So that should look like this. And you get into that plank position, come all the way down with your chest, keeping your hips slightly off the ground. Extend until your arms are all the way blacked out at the top. So that is the hardest version. Next variation would be a warm push-up, which is sort of incorporated in the burpee, so we kind of went over that already. But we'll do it again just to cover it. So with these, you want to make sure that you're really focused on not allowing your back just to drive into extension. If that's happening, it's not going to feel good later. We work out to get stronger, not to hurt ourselves. So you want to make sure always, no matter what you're doing, that you're focused more on movement mechanics and efficiency over intensity or load. So the modification would be same as that burpee. Thinking about not letting your back go into extension. Knees, then hips, then chest, and then reverse that back up. Zeus wants to help. If that's still too challenging, maybe a little ahead of where you're at, you can use a box or a barbell on a rig or even the wall for an incline push-up. So that's going to look like this. Same thing, make sure your whole body comes with you and that you're not like leaving your hips out behind, okay? You want to make sure you keep your butt nice and tight, core tight, bring your whole body with you, extend back out. That is the push-up. So front rack walking lunge, you want to make sure that you're really good with just body weight first. So that's going to look like this. I'm going to step back for sake of the video, but instead of stepping back, you would just go into that next step after finding your balance. So I'll show you what I mean by that. You step out, stand up, then go into your next lunge step. With the front rack lunge, take your dumbbells or barbell. For this workout, I programmed for myself front rack with dumbbells. So you can sit the dumbbells up like this on your shoulders. It's a little harder to balance when you they kind of move around, but I feel like at the same time the weight is a bit more centered over your body, which makes it a little bit easier to move the load. Or you can set them flat on your shoulders like this. Okay, and then it's the same thing. You want to make sure knee stays in line with the toe on that front foot. Stand all the way up. If you don't have the space to do walking, that variation that I just showed was absolutely okay. So side view. All right. just make sure that you're not slamming that back knee into the ground. It's really easy to do if you're trying to increase intensity through speed. This one is a push press. And then same here, I programmed for myself with the dumbbells. I chose 35s because that's what I have a pair of. That would, generally speaking, be like the RX version, but that's a whole nother topic that maybe we'll get into a bit more later. I don't care about what the prescribed anything is for a workout. If it's not appropriate relative to where you're at today, it's not appropriate. Okay, so we want to always make sure it meets yourself where you're at. So you're going to clean the dumbbells to your shoulder. You're going to use that core to extremity. So you're going to use that kind of like dip drive, and that should kind of just float off of your shoulders. But we want to finish with the lockout after that dip drive. That core to extremity is really important with the push press. That's what we're trying to work on with these. So full push press should look like this. Notice there's no rebending in my hips or knees until I go to do the next rep. Locked out, butt's nice and tight, core is tight, so you're not doing this. Show you from the side, you don't want to do this. So it should look like this. Alright, that's the dumbbell push. This is a step up, and we already covered these when we talked about the Bachstum, but I'm just going to show you for sake of adding load. Same position you would use for the lunge. Flip the box back to the 20-inch side. And for step-ups, I like to set them flat on my shoulder like this. And then still keeping your hands on just to make sure you don't lose grip or that they don't fall off your shoulders or hit you in the face or anything crazy. Same idea, you want to make sure that knee stays in line with the toe on the foot you're stepping up with. So I'll go from the side so you can see that. But make sure that knee stays in line with the toe all the way back down. So you want to make sure this working leg, you want to lock all the way out before bringing that other foot on. If you have to do this, that weight's probably a little bit too heavy for the intended stimulus of the exercise relative to this workout, okay? So if you can't lock that leg all the way out before you bring the other foot on the box, either use just one dumbbell or drop the weight. Next movement we have is the alternating dumbbell hang, clean, and jerk. So you're gonna take one dumbbell, as you get from the floor. So you're gonna stand up with it first. I like to kind of almost use like kettlebell swing. So you're using the hips, sort of cushioning that landing so you don't just smash your shoulder. And then using that dip drive, re-dip, lock all the way out. I like to bring it back to my shoulder, then alternate. But unless it's standardized, some people like to do it overhead like that, and then just go back into the next one. Alright, so you just want to make sure everything is nice and locked out at the top. Everything is locked out, I don't have any bent knees or hips or any of that. Okay, that's the dumbbell hang, clean, and jerk. Thrusters, I think it's a movement most of us are familiar with. But going back to with the same idea from the push press, you want to make sure you're really using that core to extremity. One of the #1 movement faults on a thruster is that people start pressing on the weight before they finish locking all the way out on the squat. So you don't want to be like here and starting to press. You want to get all the way here, use that momentum, that core to extremity, and then finish with the lockout. Also, second movement, like #1 movement flaw on a thruster would be people have a tendency to, like they're still kind of somewhere in the middle of bringing the dumbbells or the barbell back down and they start descending into that next squat. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure bring the dumbbells all the way down, then into the next squat. So it should look like that. And I'll show you with the dumbbells. Breathe at the top. once you get really efficient with the movement, those things kind of happen nearly simultaneously, but still needs to be core before extremity, and then bringing extremity back to the core, right? And then descending so that you feel nice and stable through here for your squat. Single arm double press, these are a little bit awkward, but I wanted to finish with something spicy, but not something that would make me want to die, or maybe die a little bit less. So, it's the same as a burpee. You're going to, you guys have those spider shakers? Come to the floor, one hand on the dumbbell, all the way down, all the way back up. When you go to stand up, you're gonna pull the dumbbell through your legs, and then explode up. And alternate like this. Alright, so again, I'm using more of like that kettlebell swing, like hip hinge, versus this like big pull and lockout. I'll show you one more time. Alright, so everything's still locked out at the top. You can alternate in the air, bring this all the way to the floor first, then switch and go back down into the looking at 10 different movements, 50 reps. That format came from the Filthy 50. Filthy 50 would be much easier than this. Anyways, I was looking for something I had in mind that would be just like a long grind, right? This isn't necessarily something that you're gonna just fly right through. You're looking at 50 reps of each movement. That's a lot. So that's the workout I'm going through today. I love it. If you guys give it a try, and then let me know what you think. Like I said, if 50 reps of everything feels like, whoa, that's way too much, just drop it to somewhere in that 20 to 30 rep range. If for some reason you get through that super fast, you can just go back through and do a second round. Have fun, enjoy. Drop me some feedback in the comments. Thanks guys. If you guys like this shirt, it's pretty dope. Puppies, barbells. What more can you ask for? Some of the proceeds from these shirts goes towards rescuing pit bulls, so if you are on board with that, you should definitely go grab yourself one of these. Honestly, I don't know how much I weigh right now. I haven't weighed myself since quarantine started. I would guess I'm somewhere around 175. This is a size medium. You can see how it fits me. I am just shy of 5'8". Not sure if that helps or if you care. But yeah, love it, super comfortable.